What if the Avatar, the one person who was always meant to save the world, ended up destroying it instead? Imagine waking up in a future where the Avatar isn't remembered as a hero, but as the reason civilization collapsed. And now, after years of silence, Avatar: Seven Havens is finally here. The first trailer has officially dropped, and fans are already divided. Some people are praising the stunning action scenes, while others are criticizing the brand new art style. Some fans even believe that Avatar Korra has been turned into the greatest villain in Avatar history. But is that really what's happening? Or is the trailer hiding clues that almost everyone completely missed? Today, we're breaking down every major detail hidden inside the Seven Havens trailer. We'll explain the animation controversy, the shocking mystery surrounding Korra, the brand new world of the Seven Havens, the twin Avatar theory, and several hidden details that completely change how you should view this series. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll see this trailer in a completely different way. So grab your favorite snack, sit back, and let's dive into everything you missed in Avatar: Seven Havens. Let's start with the biggest debate surrounding the trailer: the animation. Ever since Seven Havens was revealed, social media has been flooded with people claiming the animation looks worse than The Legend of Korra. But here's the thing: most of those complaints aren't actually about the animation at all. They're about the art style, and those are two completely different things. Animation is all about movement, how fluid the action feels, how many frames are used during a fight, and how naturally the characters move across the screen. Art style, on the other hand, is simply the visual design of the characters and environments. Looking closely at the trailer, the animation itself is incredibly smooth. The fight sequences are packed with fluid movement, dynamic camera angles, and some of the cleanest action we've seen in the Avatar franchise. The real difference is the visual presentation. Compared to Korra, Seven Havens uses thinner line work, softer shading, and a cleaner overall look. Korra leaned heavily into rich shadows and painterly backgrounds, giving every frame the feeling of an oil painting. Seven Havens takes a different approach. Instead of static painted backgrounds, many of the environments are fully animated, making the world feel more alive. Trees sway in the wind, dust moves across the desert, crystals shimmer with energy, and the environments constantly react to what's happening on screen. That's a stylistic choice, not a downgrade. In fact, there's one area where Seven Havens clearly pushes the franchise forward: its CGI integration. Previous Avatar projects occasionally struggled to blend computer-generated elements with traditional animation, but here it's almost impossible to tell where one ends and the other begins. Massive structures, sweeping camera movements, and large-scale environments blend seamlessly into the hand-drawn style. It's easily some of the best CGI integration Avatar has ever had. But the visuals aren't the only thing that immediately catches your attention. The world itself looks completely different from anything we've seen before. The trailer introduces us to Elora, one of the mysterious Seven Havens. At first glance, it almost feels like a futuristic version of Ba Sing Se, with enormous walls built directly into towering cliffs and canyons. But then you notice something even stranger. The sky is permanently covered by a glowing aurora. Giant crystals grow from the ground. Strange new plants cover the landscape. Endless deserts stretch beyond the city walls. Violent energy storms rage across the horizon. And despite all of that destruction, a small herd of sky bison still survives, quietly reminding us that this is still the world of Avatar. Naturally, the biggest question becomes, what happened? According to everything revealed so far, some catastrophic event during Korra's era completely reshaped the planet. Humanity was nearly wiped out, forcing the remaining survivors to live inside these protected havens. And that's exactly where one of the trailer's biggest controversies begins. Because many fans immediately noticed that Korra is being blamed for humanity's downfall. At first glance, that sounds unbelievable. But before you jump to the conclusion that Avatar Studios turned Korra into a villain, there's a much more believable explanation. And once you hear it, the entire mystery starts making a lot more sense. So, did Korra really destroy the world? Based on everything we've seen so far, I seriously doubt it. The trailer repeatedly refers to Korra as the Avatar who let humanity down. And it's easy to see why that line has sparked so much controversy. But think about it for a second. Does that sound like the Korra we've known for 4 seasons? Someone who would suddenly decide to wipe out civilization for no reason? Probably not. A much more believable explanation is that Korra was trying to stop whatever catastrophe was coming, and failed. History has a funny way of rewriting the truth. Heroes often become villains when later generations don't know the full story. That could be exactly what's happening here. The people living in the Seven Havens may only know the outcome, not the sacrifice or the impossible choices Korra had to make. And honestly, that would be a far more interesting story than simply turning her evil. But Korra isn't the only mystery hiding inside this trailer. We're also introduced to the new avatar, Pavi, an earthbender who lives in this broken world. Almost immediately, the trailer presents another massive question. Pavi comes face to face with a girl who looks exactly like her. Her name is Nisha. Confused, Pavi asks, "Why do you look like me?" That single line has launched hundreds of fan theories. Were they separated as children? Does Nisha remember the past while Pavi doesn't? Or is there something much bigger happening here? One of the most popular theories is that Pavi and Nisha are actually twin avatars. At first, that sounds impossible, but the trailer quietly drops clue after clue. Their names have opposite meanings. Pavi is associated with light, while Nisha represents darkness. Their clothing mirrors each other. Their companion cats use opposite color schemes. Even more interesting are their eyes. Both sisters have distinctive diamond-shaped pupils, a feature that immediately reminds longtime fans of Rava and Vaatu. Coincidence? Maybe. But when you combine every clue together, it starts feeling very intentional. Could Rava and Vaatu somehow exist separately inside 2 different avatars? Right now, it's only a theory, but it's one of the strongest theories the trailer has created. The mysteries don't stop there. We also meet 2 airbending mentors, Jay and Captain Karthik, who appear to guide the 2 sisters on completely different paths. What's fascinating is that they seem to be among the last people who still believe the Avatar can save the world. One line from the trailer stands out above everything else. "Our ancestors weren't prepared, and the Avatar let us down." That sentence changes everything. This strongly suggests that a huge amount of time has passed since Korra's era. Long enough for people to speak about her generation as ancient history. It also hints that the Avatar cycle itself may have been broken or at least interrupted in ways we've never seen before. Finally, the trailer confirms that Avatar: Seven Havens is scheduled to premiere on October 9th on Paramount+. However, one major question still remains unanswered. Will the entire series release all at once? Or will it follow a weekly schedule? Personally, I think a weekly release would be the perfect choice. This story is clearly built around mysteries, theories, and hidden details. Releasing every episode on the same day would take away the excitement of fans discussing each twist week after week. Some stories are simply better when they're allowed to breathe. And Seven Havens feels like one of those stories. One thing is certain, though. Whether these theories turn out to be true or completely wrong, the Avatar universe is entering its boldest chapter yet. And if the full series delivers on the mystery we've seen in this trailer, we could be looking at the biggest Avatar event since The Legend of Korra. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think Korra actually caused the cataclysm? Or is someone hiding the real truth? Let me know your theory in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe, because as more trailers, announcements, and hidden details are revealed, we'll be covering every secret the world of Avatar has to offer. But the trailer isn't just introducing new characters. It's quietly rewriting the rules of the Avatar universe itself. One detail that almost everyone overlooked is the way Pavi fights. If you've watched The Legend of Korra, you'll remember that earthbending gradually evolved into a faster, more modern fighting style. Many benders relied on quick strikes, kickboxing-inspired movements, and rapid combinations. Pavi's earthbending feels completely different. Her stance is much wider. Her movements are slower, more deliberate, and much closer to the traditional earthbending philosophy we first saw from Toph and King Bumi. It's almost as if the world has gone backwards. Not technologically, but spiritually. And honestly, that makes perfect sense. If civilization was nearly wiped out by a global catastrophe, many of the advanced bending techniques developed during Chorus era could have been lost over time. The survivors would have rebuilt using only the knowledge that remained. Another fascinating detail is Pavi's prosthetic leg. At the beginning of the trailer, she uses a simple wooden peg leg. Later, it's replaced by what appears to be a far more advanced metal prosthetic. That immediately raises another question. Is this simply new technology, or does Pavi eventually learn metal bending and begin upgrading her own leg? If that's true, it could become one of the most unique fighting styles we've ever seen in Avatar. Imagine combining traditional earthbending with a custom-built metal prosthetic designed specifically for combat. That would completely change the way action scenes are choreographed. The trailer also introduces two airbending mentors, Jay and Captain Karthik. What's interesting is that both seem to guide opposite sides of the story. Jay appears alongside Pavi, while Captain Karthik is connected to Nisha. They share one important belief. Neither of them has given up on the Avatar. In a world where most people blame the Avatar for humanity's downfall, these two still believe the Avatar is the world's greatest hope. That immediately makes them some of the most important characters in the entire series. Because every great Avatar has always needed someone willing to believe in them before the rest of the world ever did. And then, the trailer drops one final line that completely changes the timeline. Our ancestors weren't prepared, and the Avatar let us down. That single sentence suggests something incredible. Enough time has passed since Chorus era that the people who lived during her lifetime are now spoken of as ancient ancestors. We're not talking about a few years. We're probably talking about generations, maybe even centuries. That means Seven Havens isn't just another sequel. It's a brand new era of Avatar history. One where old legends have become myths. History has been forgotten, and the truth may have been buried alongside the old world itself. And if that's true, then discovering what really happened to Korra may become the biggest mystery this franchise has ever told. There are also a few hidden details in the trailer that deserve a closer look. One of them appears during the final seconds, when a mysterious red crystal suddenly begins to awaken. At first, it doesn't seem like much, but many fans immediately connected it to one of the oldest forces in Avatar lore, Vaatu. Now, there's no official confirmation yet, but if that really is Vaatu, then the story becomes far more complicated than anyone expected. Because according to the original lore, Rava and Vaatu should never exist separately for very long. So how could something like this happen? One theory suggests that the Avatar spirit itself may have been split during the Cataclysm. Instead of one complete Avatar, there could now be two. One carrying Rava's light, and the other carrying Vaatu's darkness. That would perfectly explain why Pavi and Nisha mirror each other in almost every possible way. Their appearance, their names, their colors, even their symbolic imagery. Of course, it's still just a theory, but it's one of the few explanations that fits every clue we've seen so far. Another scene that's raising a lot of questions shows Pavi trapped inside a massive glowing red crystal. At least, that's what it looks like. It's difficult to tell whether she's imprisoned, trying to break free, or willingly entering whatever power exists inside that crystal. Whatever the answer is, that scene feels incredibly important. Because trailers rarely spend several seconds focusing on something that isn't connected to the main story. Finally, let's talk about the release. Avatar. Seven Havens is officially scheduled to premiere on October 9th exclusively on Paramount+. However, one major question still hasn't been answered. How will the series actually be released? Early reports claimed that both seasons, all 26 episodes, would drop on the very same day. But later, those reports were quietly updated. Now, the release format is officially listed as undecided. And honestly, I really hope Paramount chooses a weekly release. Shows built around mystery, fan theories, and hidden lore are always stronger when audiences have time to discuss every episode. If all 26 episodes arrive on day one, most of the mystery disappears overnight. A weekly release would allow the excitement to build, give fans time to analyze every hidden clue, and keep the Avatar community talking for months instead of just one weekend. Whatever happens, one thing is already clear. Avatar: Seven Havens isn't trying to repeat Aang's story or Korra's story. It's creating an entirely new era, with new rules, new mysteries, and possibly the biggest twist the Avatar universe has ever attempted. And if the full series is even half as ambitious as this trailer, we may be witnessing the beginning of the next legendary chapter in Avatar history. So now I want to hear from you. What do you think really happened to Korra? And do you believe Pavi and Nisha are truly twin avatars? Or is Avatar Studios hiding an even bigger secret? Let me know your theory in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be covering every hidden detail, every new trailer, and every major reveal as Avatar: Seven Havens gets closer to release.